Welcome to Collecting Consciousness, where we aim to capture the ever-expanding and evolving conscious creations that originate from the minds of fellow podcasters, strangers, dear friends, and loved ones.
In this podcast, we will expand on our inner wisdom and a coming home to self. From our conscious minds to yours, we welcome you to the Collecting Consciousness.
Welcome back to another episode of Collecting Consciousness. This is Bethany, and we have Courtney here, and we would like to we'd like to start off with a little breathing and a prayer. So wherever you all are at in your day, whatever setting you find yourself in this moment, if it is available to you to allow your eyelids to gently fall closed, I invite you to do this. And as we allow our eyelids to relax and close, we bring our attention to our inner landscape, to our inner world. And as we arrive to this inner landscape, I ask us to just take note of any tensions that you may be feeling in your shoulders, in your neck, maybe in your eyebrows, your forehead. And as we bring our awareness to these tensions that we hold in our bodies, just allowing them to be for now what they are. And just bringing this gentle, loving awareness to our bodies, to the states that they're in this moment. And if you're sitting or even if you're standing, just allowing your body to rest into the surface below you a little bit more. Allowing our bodies to surrender, to release, and to now be supported by the surface that is underneath them. Now that we've allowed our physical bodies to relax and to settle a little bit, I invite you to just take notice of your breath. Bringing awareness to whatever rhythm, whatever pace, whatever depth your breath is at in this moment, without changing it, without forcing anything new, and without any judgment, just allowing it to be what it is. And on your next inhale, I want to invite you to really take a nice deep breath. So allowing that breath to fill your belly, to soften your belly outward, to allow the chest to fill and expand and grow bigger. And when you get to the top of this inhale, I want you to pause for just a moment and feel the stillness. And on the exhale, I want you to audibly sigh every breath, every bit of this breath out. Taking a nice big inhale back in through our nose, bringing this breath through the nostrils, filling up the belly, softening the belly, making the chest expand, making the chest bigger and bigger with this fresh breath. And when you get to the very top, just pausing for a moment to access the stillness that is available in each and every breath. And on the exhale, I want you to sigh everything out, release the shoulders, relax the body. Take a nice audible sigh. One more nice deep inhale, taking the biggest, deepest breath that you've taken all day today. Bringing that breath into the low belly, allowing the belly to expand and to fill, and the lungs to grow bigger and expansive with this beautiful, fresh breath. And as we get to the top, I want you to pause, basking in the stillness. And on the exhale, I want you to release it all. Now allowing your breath to gently return to its own rhythm, its own pace. Essentially letting the breath breathe you in this moment. Before we lead into the prayer, I want you to just take notice of where your body is at. Have you noticed any shifts in the tension that you may have experienced in the beginning? Bringing awareness to our breath, have you noticed any difference in your rate, in the depth? And now lastly, bringing the awareness to our minds. Just allowing our busy minds to just be busy, but allowing that busyness to flow by. Allowing those thoughts to travel like leaves down the stream, just allowing them to drift by. And now inviting Courtney to infuse our consciousness with an intentional prayer for this podcast.
Thank you, Bethany. Welcome to Collecting Consciousness once again. I want us to focus in on our heart space, where the blood flows in and out. Let us set the intention to create open hearts at all points of our day. Let us tap into an innocence, a playfulness, a curiosity, joy, expansion, a magical, pure energy. It's innately who we all are. Can we allow our heart to welcome in these energies? Can we allow our hearts to shine them outwards from inwards? We are all beautiful beings. We all wish to be heard, seen, and valued. So how can you show up for yourself today with the power of curiosity and playfulness and innocence and magic and wonder and all the magical things in this world beyond our eyes can even see? So allow our hearts to embrace this present moment as we dive in to our next episode of The Inner Child. We welcome you to Collecting Consciousness. Feel free to place your hand on your heart, one on your belly. Let them lay wherever they feel most comfortable. And when you're ready, open your eyes, as there's so much beauty and wonder in this world. And we are here to dive in and share it. So we welcome you. Good morning, Bethany.
Good morning. That was awesome.
Yeah, back at you. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Yeah.
Another cheers. There we go.
Cheers. We're recording this on a Friday, so happy
Band,
Friday and
yeah,
Banty.
yeah. Band Tea Friday. Shout
Yeah.
out to my friend Toots who gave me this Wicked Woodstock shirt last night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so today's episode is about the inner child. You know, the inner child is a person within us that is yearning to be seen, heard, and valued.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been so many times I would say that we've all experienced not feeling heard, seen, or valued.
Mm-hmm.
So today we are here to allow the inner child to shine through. We are here to talk about personal experiences of the inner child. We are here to just showcase what it is. And what it is, it's beauty, it's curiosity, it's wonder, it's magic, purity. Like it's a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
So where I'd like to lead with the inner child, I would just say that wherever you are on your healing journey, wherever you are on your journey, I think one of the most beneficial places to start is to start seeing that little you inside of you, the you of all ages beyond the age of that you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, with the inner child, so what is the inner child? The inner child is the you inside of you that has this magic, that has this wonder, that has this joy, expression, expansion, all these wonderful things. And and we'll be talking, we often, oh, by the way, side note, I wanted to just throw something out there.
Uh-huh.
I loved how you started the getting into the body. You were like, how we get off. And
Yeah.
I was like, go to episode 2 and you'll really learn how to get off.
Yeah. Totally.
So,
How to
so I just
connect.
want to had to reference that one there. But
Can I bookmark something real quick on the
yeah,
inner
yeah,
child? Just like
yeah,
one quick thing is like inner child is all of those pure, wondrous, curious pieces of us. And you said something more along the lines of like it is something that wants to be expressed or like is in us that wants to be expressed and has actually been like traumatized and
yeah, yeah,
like that's why it isn't expressed. That's why we're in this place that all of
yeah,
us are so out of touch with that inner child because we lose sight of that part of ourselves really quickly.
yeah.
Fortunately, in this society that doesn't cultivate wonder and curiosity and joy and love and purity, and so it gets
Very
lost.
true.
And that's, yeah, kind of like where this
Totally.
episode is like birthed from is like the work to get back to that.
100% Bethany. Good little clarification. And where I was going to lead in with that too is like the inner child has had so much programming and so much constructs that over time it gets diminished. So it doesn't feel safe to be that expressive, joy, pure, wondrous being that it is because of all the constructs that tell us who we're supposed to be. You need to silence that part of you. So thank you for that little added
Mhm.
bookmark to that. So leading in with that, I find, when you kind of go into your healing journey of trying to break down constructs and paradigms, subconscious healing, we need to, in my opinion, I feel like the best way to start is with the inner child
Mm,
because she has just been so put down and doesn't feel safe to be expressed.
mhm,
And now, like, you have to, there, with inner child work, there is brain fart.
mhm,
We have to go back in and reparent ourselves because not everybody is going to meet our needs. And there is going to be experiences in our lives that create traumas within us that we have to work through and we have to heal. It's, you can go into a layered topic about that as the contract of what our life, of the experiences we're meant to have, so that we can shift and grow and evolve from the past hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So the importance of inner child work is to go in and reparent, and to be that parent that little you needed to have. So I began my inner child work when I learned with Dr. Nicole LaPera, the holistic psychologist. I did this, you can sign up for her. She has the self-healers circle, and they have all these different teachings, all these different videos where they teach you how to do all these different wonderful, magical things of healing. And she likes you to start with inner child, because there's a you inside of you that has been shut down and repressed, and it needs to feel safe again. So that's where coming in and reparenting is how you heal that part of yourself. And Bethany, I know that inner child work has been really big in your life, and I would love to hear your thoughts around your framing around inner child work, some personal experiences with you and your inner child. I would just love to hear what you have to say.
Okay. And then I want to go back to you because I want to hear about your
100%.
work with
100%.
Nicole.
Yeah. We're gonna 100%.
Okay. So yeah,
I just like, but when I thought of like this episode, I was like, this is such a Bethany like experience, because of the experiences that I've heard of yours. I'm just like, inner. I know that you hold a lot of love for your inner you, your inner child you.
Yeah. Well, and it is like a guiding compass. Like she is a guiding compass for me. And so I guess I did like a timeline kind of, because I was like, when did I first start doing inner child? When did I?
Right.
And really, the very first inner child experience that I had was when I did go to Arizona in 2010, and did a lot of healing work. It was the first healing work that I really did in my lifetime. And I was like 22.
Wow. Very cool.
I don't want to do the math right now because that will
Yeah.
embarrass me.
Oh, listen.
So like,
Yeah.
I was like 21 or 20. I think it was 22 though.
I did some math with you the other day, and I was like, oh, I've been out of high school. Like, I did my age, and I was like, it was 10 years ago. Bethany, it was actually 20 years ago.
Yeah.
that I was 14. I was like, oh, it's only 10 years. I was like, wow, my math was off.
Yeah, no, I know, right? It feels like 10 years ago. We'll just say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that.
I say the same thing all the time, and I'm like, oh God, it's almost been 30 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So
22.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyways, went to Arizona. I was actually like was going through at that time period like a massive awakening, or a massive like, I don't want to say awakening, but just all my shit kind of thrown at me, and for me to look at, because I hadn't up until that point. I just been like trucking through life, went through parents' divorce, and looking back, are really like mm, la- lo- love lacking um childhood in a way. So like really going back and like looking at all of that. And so I went to Arizona, and I worked with at the time, he was like a traditional psychologist, but did like some really alternative healing stuff. And we were like out in Sedona,
He was a what
really
psychologist?
he was just he was a
Okay.
traditional psychologist. He actually had studied though internal family systems, which is now a huge, it's now a huge
Cool.
way that people do therapy. But like back in 2010, like we didn't
It was
have
progressive.
social media. We didn't have social media. I like don't even know how I found him online, because it wasn't even like
Wow.
that type of thing. I just literally looked up like, I don't even remember what I looked up, like what I would have typed into whatever search engine at that time we had, because I don't even know if it was Google. Like
Divine timing in a
super cool.
sense.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So my inner child work with him consisted of a really deep guided meditation, probably the first time I'd ever been in like a led meditation. And I mean, he took me to the youngest version of me that I could remember and that I could get in touch
Wow.
with. And like she stood in front of me, and this is like a visualization. stood in front of me, and we just she showed me areas that I didn't even remember being hurt in, and as a kid, like being
How old were
traumatized
you?
in. Well, it was at my babysitter's house, and it was probably from like age 3 to like, or well, probably like four, well, actually, probably like 4 or 5, but I remember her at 3. And
Wow.
probably like age 4 or 5, like my babysitter's son was much older than us, and he used to just bully the shit out of all of us. Like when she wasn't around, he'd just bully us. Like, and so I never felt safe at that young
Mm,
age. And
right,
so,
right,
like,
right, right.
when I saw her, like we connected and she was swinging, and I love to swing. Like I love being on a swing and a swing set, and like I just love swinging. So anywho, in that session, it was really it was really powerful, and I just like looked into her eyes and like told her she is safe, and that I love her, and I gave her a big hug, and just like that was the first time I'd ever connected with her, and like associated. So at that time, he had me associate a color with her, or just whatever color came up, which was like bright green, like a grass green,
Love.
which is the heart chakra that I later
Yes.
put those dots together, because I really wasn't on this path all the way at that age, but just starting, that was like just the start of this like path of being into all
Someone's
this
come to say
spirituality and
hello.
stuff. Oh, hi, kitty cat.
Hello, little kitty
Oh my
cat.
goodness.
This is Bilbo.
Oh, Bilbo.
He's a man of many
Bilbo,
names.
but
Bilbo, Buttons, Chip, George, Georgie. Actually, I came up with a new one the other day, Rocky, because I think he looks like a raccoon. So I was going for the Beatles, Rocky Raccoon.
oh my God, I
He's
love it.
just a man of many names.
Just a pussycat.
He's like, I want to be
Oh,
in this inner child healing.
I know, right? Seriously, because yeah,
Animals
any
pick it up.
animals, they do. We're about it. And little children with animals is like a fascinating thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so sweet. So yeah, so that was like my first experience, 2010. Got to know her, was really profound. And then I would say so I jotted down on paper when I had met this other healer, Faith, who then
Faith,
reconnected
yes.
me. She was another pivotal
She's
reconnection
an
for,
epic healer.
yeah. This is a lady in Maine, Faith, and she does, I really can't even tell
Energy.
you what she does, but she
Yeah, an
taps in.
energy healer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I do have to say about the way that she works, that was a little, well, overall, actually, both experiences. Faith was a little bit more profound with the emotional part, but what I learned the other day in this podcast that me and Courtney listened to about inner child work with Christine Hassler, we will link
And
the podcast in the
and
show
Emily
notes, and Emily Fletcher. Yeah, Emily Fletcher on Ziva. I think it's called Ziva
meditation.
Meditation is the
Meditation. Exactly. Yep.
podcast. But they did some inner
Episode
child.
43.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
There we go. If we want to get
There
real
you go.
specific.
Good job.
Thank
Um,
you.
but they did some inner child discussion, and I liked what she said about it's one thing to let the emotion out that inner child maybe
That's
lacked or
right.
needed to experience, but it's like, so that's cathartic, that allows you to feel that emotion, but then to put words to it and to actually
Hmm.
speak out what message or what story needs to be spoken out is like the
Right.
comprehensive healing. And so,
And also because they're silenced too, like they've been
yeah.
silenced. So allowing those words out to say those unexpressed things that have never been said because they didn't feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I feel like Faith really did a great job of, it was really unique how she has gotten to the place that she's at as a healer, and that's why I don't know what to call her, because she's a
Right.
licensed massage therapist, similar to Courtney, like licensed
Hmm.
massage therapist. But what she did, I mean, I was how we tapped into my inner child. I was getting a massage from her, and she tapped into this spot that's under my right scapula that is like, it is
Right.
like, I
That's
jump
where
off
she.
the table when people touch
Hmm.
it. Like it was always this like, and any massage therapist, like anybody that's ever touched it, like Jonah massaging me, like it was just like this. I mean, it would literally like just make me jump off the table. And when she got to it on my body, she paused and she really just tapped into what emotionally is stored there. And it's interesting, actually. I just thought of this. If I could go back to my Arizona story, I saw a massage therapist similar to Faith out there in Arizona as part of my treatment. And she was like a emotional release massage therapist. And she also tapped into that spot, but she didn't get to the place that me and Faith got with it. So it was really
Wow.
interesting. Faith tapped into
And
this
Beth
spot.
and
Yeah.
and Bethany didn't also, when we did a session back in the fall,
Hmm.
I got into that spot, like what we were on your shoulder, and then and the inner child came up again.
Oh yeah, that whole session, my inner child was like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was in
yeah,
my
yeah. Oh, for
spine. It was
sure.
like all of,
Yeah,
you were like all in my body, and I just could feel, because I guess, so I'll
yeah,
touch base,
yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah,
I'll go to the
yeah.
barometer and how it is my barometer for like where I'm at and where I'm out of balance. But um, so Faith tapped into that spot on my back, and she paused there, and she really got me to sink in and really go deep and figure out what was there, what was going on, like. And what we identified was that's where my inner child lives. And when she is not feeling loved and safe and whole and complete, that flares up. So from
Wow.
there forward, like anytime that spot, if like Jonah comes up and he just like casually rubs my back, because sometimes I can walk around and feel it and not even pay attention to it because I just have lived with it probably for years, decades in that spot, and just been like, it's just one of
Oh,
those aches that you just don't
yeah.
realize until somebody grazes over it. And so like Jonah could touch over it, and I'll be like, for a while after Faith identified it, it would crop up like frequently. Like Jonah would like be touching me or gently touching me, and it would be like, ooh. And then I would instantly drop into this mantra. I would connect with that inner child, and I would say, you are loved, you are whole, you are perfect. You are loved, you are whole, you are perfect, you are safe, you are loved, you are whole. I would always say some version of safety, love, perfection, and just sort of tap into her and talk to her, because that's like the spot in my body that's telling me it's something's out of whack. Like I don't feel safe. Like for whatever reason, that inner child inside of me doesn't feel safe. Maybe I've been like too stressed out. I've been ignoring her. I've been not able to express emotions safely. Like whatever could be going on in life, I've let it go on for too long. And now she's like screaming to me, like, hey, like,
Mhm.
or you haven't played enough, or you haven't been joyful enough. Like,
Right.
hey, tap in, like, tap in. So I'm really grateful for finding that spot and connecting with that. And then the last experience that I will talk about that was really profound with her, and that I really haven't felt that spot in a really long time. But I was in 2000, it was like a couple years ago. I wrote 2022. Like it was like 2 years ago. We were living at our friend Deb's house, and I was taking a bath one day, and I just had been feeling really
Yes.
icky, really off. Like the baths for me are like massively healing and activating if I want them to be. I can take a chill bath, but like if I want to go into a place of healing, I've just found that water is like hugely, whatever about a bath is just like hugely potent. So I put on like a chakra meditation, and was listening to it while I was in the bathtub, and just instantly got into this, or not instantly, but as I went through it, got into this deep shamanic journey experience with my inner child, where I tapped so deep into her that like I literally, during that session, she came like outside of my body, and I was able to like hold her like a child, like she was my like own child. Like she really felt like very scared, and she was just, it was just a really, she was tender. It was like she was my own little child, and it really allowed me the experience to feel what it would feel like to really love a child, like to really hold that tenderness for like another little life. And I like literally just laid there metaphorically or like visually with her, and I mean I wept with her, I held her like a baby. I just like I yeah, it was just this like really beautiful sweet moment. And I did that until she wasn't sad anymore, until she felt safe, until she felt comfortable. And then after I kind of checked in with that version of her, I brought her back into my heart in that way.
Mm,
And it was like,
wow.
I mean, this went on for like, it was a while, like probably if I had to put time to it, like over an hour, maybe more,
Wow.
like of just
Wow.
going through this process. And since then, I really haven't had, I mean, she came up again recently in Courtney and I's massage therapy session where Courtney was
Energy session as
tapping.
well.
Yeah. Yeah, energy session, mostly energy session, where you
Yeah.
were just tapping into my back, and I just and it's like, I guess life is busy, and like you get really distracted and you just
Yeah,
start and go, go, go. And we have been in a state of go, go, go for like
that's
quite a few
right.
years now. And so I think it's easy to become disconnected with that
Hmm.
part of yourself. And
Yeah,
so allowing yourself that space to like take a healing bath and connect with that spot, or that inner
talking.
child, or have an energy session like that. So being on your table and you allowing me and me allowing myself to have that space, like, allowed me to tap in. Oh, I'm really not okay. Like, I really am, like, there's a density here that's
Yeah,
it's not mine. I don't know what it is, but then like you get curious, you keep inquiring, and then I just identified, like, it's my inner child. She's not happy. She hasn't felt joy in a long time. She's been stressed.
right.
We've had to be serious, so
And
it's like,
we need that balance in life,
ah,
where it's okay to be it's okay to be busy, it's okay, but can we slow down? Can we just take some intentional moments, an intentional bath, go play outside for like 10 fucking minutes, it's
yeah,
just being intentional. It's showing you that, hey, I see you and I'm here for
hmm,
you.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's really my experience with my
Thank
inner
you.
child.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you for
yeah.
starting, like, beautiful. And I was like,
Sure.
so what I was thinking was, now that you are on this journey of wanting to have a child, do you think that maybe that experience in 2022 where you held a child allowed you to say, oh, you know what? I actually do want to have a child, I believe.
It, it actually it actually gave me the experience of unconditional love before, like, experiencing that, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
in human form. Like, I did
Right.
have that realization. I actually had the thought, like, it was more the thought of, like, I will be such a better mom because of this. Like, it was
Right,
like more
right.
thought of that.
Because
Like,
you tapped
imagine
into
if
the
I
idea of unconditional love rather than just like being a child, oh, survival, helping them. You're tapping into the unconditional love of what people need.
and
Is
also
that
and yeah, totally. And also just the connection to this, like, the divine sweetness of a child and like what they
yeah,
need,
the
and just
purity,
like, yeah, the
the curious,
purity.
the wonder,
Yeah.
because like they really are little magical beings. And it's like, and I
Mhm.
mean, going into, if we could really just continue to allow that inner child to keep that wonder, to not shut them down, to not tell them, oh, hey, like, just go
Mhm.
off and play by yourself. Let's tap into that essence because it truly is
Mhm.
unconditional love.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, it did. It helped me in that session. I totally was like, wow, I don't know what kind of mom I would have been without this experience, kind of thing. Like,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful I had that experience to be a better,
To
loving,
lead with,
gentler,
yeah.
yeah, mom. Yeah. So anyway,
I
I
love
did.
that. I
I did.
love that. And so it's nice too that like you do realize that you do, it's nice that you can tap into the subtleties. You feel something in your shoulder, or you're just like, okay, has she been playing? Have we been allowing her space? And because we do get busy, we do put things aside. So it's nice that you can see yourself and feel yourself to know that, hey, this is what I need right now. I need to allow more of this in my life. So it's great that you can tap into the subtleties that are, because it's sometimes she's just whispering.
Yeah.
Sometimes he screams.
Mhm.
Sometimes
Mhm.
she's singing. So it's really beautiful too. I mean, it just goes into tapping into your inner world. The more you get in tune with yourself, the more that you notice these subtle shifts,
Mhm.
because it's when you see the subtle shifts, or let's just say you're not seeing the subtle shifts within your body, well, guess what, you're going to have something bigger come if you're just not hearing or feeling or seeing or knowing that, oh, I need to give some attention to this part of me.
Yeah. Totally.
Injury can come, major ailments, that the body keeps score, and the body is going to hold things within us if we're not tapping in and seeing the things that we need to help us on our journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what is, I want to hear a
Okay.
little bit about your inner
So
child.
my experiences, and the earliest I can date back to inner child work, maybe things happened and I didn't even know, but it was when I found Dr. Nicole LaPera back in 2020, and the I signed up for the Self Healer Circle, and I stayed with them for some months and did some courses with them. And inner child was the beginning stages. And I remember, so just to reference back to you talking about how baths are really powerful and stuff. So water is a really pure channel. Water is very pure. Anytime I do healing, I always send energy off to pure water in a forest to get healed and then emit back into the earth in a new frequency. So water is very pure. Water is a huge way to channel. So in Sue, my first inner child was in the shower. And I was just letting the water come pour down on me. Eyes are closed. And I tapped into the inner child. And she was 14. And it was so dark. It was black. I couldn't see. She was scared. She did not trust me. She was like alone, so alone. And at that point in my life, I was quite alone. 14 was a hard year for me. And I was with her and I told her that I am someone that she can trust, that I am here for her benefit. I am here to love her. And it's okay that you're not feeling good. I'm here to help you feel good. And seriously, eyes closed the entire time, the light that came through, it was so beautiful. But I knew that was not enough. I knew that it doesn't just, hey, you have one session and boom, that's the inner child healed. You have to continually show up for her. So ways I like to connect with my inner child, I talk to her all the time. I place my hand on my heart and I tell her that it is safe to be her. I've always been a different type of person. I never felt like I belonged, and I didn't I got teased. And one thing I'm happy, I got teased for how I dressed, my personality, because I was really quirky, because I am quirky. And I'm really proud of myself for never stopping being myself, even though I felt alone. I realized that my inner child, she's always felt alone. She's just experienced life, and it's just not really having people just the misunderstanding. So that's been a challenge in my life to words to come to grips with. And now over the years I have, but I understand her. I see her, and that's all that matters. So come in that reparent. Again, I understand you. I see you. I value you. Who you are is perfect. So I like to talk to her all the time. I like to get her. I'll ask her, what does she want to wear today? And this is what she chose. She chose something vibrant and funky and fun, because that's who we are. And so the ways that I really like to see my inner child is through speaking with her, just holding space for her. And I had to experience with my inner child. I have realized that it's hard for me to tell people that they've hurt me. And because when I was younger, if I tried to express myself, sometimes it was very dismissive and invalidated. So I never felt safe to express these hurts that I felt. So I had to stand up for my inner child, and I had to tell somebody that they hurt me, and that was really hard for me. And the outcome was not what I wanted. The outcome was not, but that's okay. Even though the outcome was not what I wanted, I know that I stood up for my little inner me that needed to express the hurt. And that's the thing too, is like, we're not always going to be understood. We're not always going to be heard the way we want to be heard. So truly, the important part of inner child work, in my opinion, is that reparent is you being there for her, because you can be there for your inner child. It's about you helping you. You know yourself best. I know myself best. So obviously, when we tap into what we need, it's going to be us that's going to be the one to really see that inner child. So I'm proud of myself for speaking on our hurt, even though it was uncomfortable for me, because I know it's only going to get better as time goes by. And I'm not going to allow myself to not allow that child to feel safe. So
I have a question
yeah,
about that. It's like
yeah.
an interesting aspect too that happens because of being shut down or not being seen emotionally as a younger being, and those formative years of your inner child being formed, is to develop the protector. So
Yeah.
like, how did your protector show up? Like, was it like, because you're saying like you had a hard time telling people that they hurt you, so like instead would your protector just would you just like bury it deep inside of you? Would you
She
just
would
go
suffer in
cry in the
silence.
bedroom?
She would suffer in silence. She would
Uh-huh.
suffer in silence, or she would just go off and try to process it herself and just cry. Yeah, cry.
Uh-huh.
Just suffer in silence, I think truly is
Mhm.
what it is. Just, okay, well, whatever,
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. And that's hard. That's hard to say, because it's not fair to suffer in silence. It's not fair to feel afraid to tell somebody that they've hurt you. It's not fair to allow that hurt.
Mhm.
By suffering in silence, I'm allowing my little girl to be hurt.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's something that I'm actively working on. That's something that I'm trying to integrate into life.
Mhm.
And I also have to understand that everybody is not going to understand what it is that you feel. But by me being that protector, by me being that parent, I'm going to just be there for her the best that I know how. But I'm also going to challenge myself to know that it is okay to express hurt, to express disappointment. It's okay to express these things, because hopefully it's going to plant a seed for others to do the same thing. Because how many people suffer in silence, or how
Mhm.
many people just push down, and then it creates resentment, and then that makes things even worse.
Totally. Yeah. And
Yeah, go ahead.
and I think like, not sure who this audience will be that's listening to this, but if you're on the spectrum of, somebody that's acknowledged their inner child, has done their inner child work, fabulous. And then if you're on the spectrum of like, I'm raising a child and I want to harness this inner child that they have within them, and I don't want to create somebody that grows up with like a super damaged, I don't think you can totally escape, because society and the world
Yeah,
and being
yeah,
human is being human. The planet
part
is
of the
tough.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough to be here. Like, we can create the best um, environment for our kids that we could possibly dream of, or not even dream of, but you can create the best environment for your kid based off of your own inner work, and like your understanding of how important it is to maintain this beautiful innocence. um,
mm-hmm.
so I guess like what I was just trying to say is like, no matter where you are on the spectrum of listening to this, like, it really applies in a multifaceted way, like, this
Definitely.
information, like, allowing yourself to just like, or allowing
Be yourself.
be yourself, and allow your
Yeah.
children to be protected, and allow them
Yeah.
to express and allow them to feel emotion.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Because
all
because
important.
like that, yeah, because that is like, we are here for the emotional experience. We are here
Mhm.
to feel all facets, but it's also allowing like that safety for people, like the non-judgment, the creating that safety. It
Mhm.
is a human experience, and we're not gonna not feel angry, sad, happy, joy, like all those things. So if we just create space for them, actually I want to refer back to my notes because Christine said something that I liked, and it works with it. Oh yeah, so like, so when we're, everything happens for us, and
Mm.
the inner child is, so this is a quote from Christine Hadler and paraphrase at some point. So she talked about how the inner child brings you out of the loop pattern because it comes to the surface. So when you start to see, when you do inner child work, you start to see you're tapping into your subconscious, and we are living in 90% of us, 90% of our minds is the subconscious. So when we start to look within and we start to see our subconscious, we are tapping in, and then you can start to see the patterns. And she was talking about how there's like there's bypass where, you shut people, you try to just, oh, well, it sucked and I experienced this, but
Mhm.
hey, let's just move on. No, allow yourself to feel the grief, allow yourself to feel the rage, allow yourself to feel the sadness, because you're experiencing the emotions, but you're allowing it to pass through. You're not suppressing it. You're not bypassing it. You are literally living in it. And that's where like everything happens for us so that we can shift, grow, and evolve.
And to that note, like I think also one thing she mentioned, like some people will belittle what happened to them as being
Yeah.
insignificant in comparison
The
to like,
comparison.
oh,
Yeah.
this person got raped every day as a child, but I got yelled at. And so like at least I wasn't raped every day. But it's like, I mean, and that's probably really triggering, sorry, but like that is an extreme. But it's like what you went through and how it affected you is truly the most important thing, because that
Because it
person
hurt you.
also, and also that person that, so it's like, yeah, because it did hurt you and it caused you trauma and it caused your inner
Yeah.
child and it caused that part of you to be shut down and to be scared. And now that's affecting you in your daily life. And so, and we're all part of the collective. So, like, no little part is less than or more than the other. We
Exactly.
all are here to help each other walk each other home, be the best versions that we can be without comparison of a story or an experience. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the comparison, like we do, there is comparison is huge in society, and it really diminishes, it invalidates your hurt, it invalidates your experience. And it's like, what hurts me is gonna not, maybe not gonna hurt you, but again, that's okay, because what hurts you is not gonna hurt me. Like, we have to realize that in order to be able to help others and to lift each other's up, we have to heal those parts of us that were hurt, because it hurt us. Your
Mm-hmm.
heart, it's simple as it affected you.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to do about it? Do you want to suppress it? Do you want to ignore it? Do you want to go into just like a suppression, or do you want to see these parts of yourself and allow space for them to feel, to grow, to heal?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's like all the answers are within. So really just allow your human experience, allow your personal experience to really help you, shift you, grow you, and then ride the waves of emotion,
Mm-hmm.
because like it's not going to be forever. And I remember when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I used to think it was going to be forever. I
Mm.
used to think that it was never going to end, that I was never going to hurt. And I always, oh, when I was still drinking in my 30s, I was like, used to be that girl in the bathroom that I would see these young girls. And I was like, A, girls drinking water. The water is so good for you. But B, you can do anything you want in this world, and don't allow anything to cause you whatever. Because I always wish that I had somebody in my 20s tell me it was okay and that I was going to get through it, because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And that's where that alone feeling, that isolation I have felt in my life, it's like, so I'm like, okay, Courtney, you gotta stop going into the bathroom with all these. But I mean, drunk girls in the bathroom are the most uplifting women ever. And I wish that that could continue outwards,
I know.
but it's like, again, just having someone tell you you're going to be okay. Going back into the inner child work, people think, and I am going to relate in this to my own story. It's like, with our inner child that gets shut down and stuff, we're either told we're being too much, or we're broken, or I just wanted to.
I think also I just want to, like you can experience, like as a kid, as a child, like you got that capacity to experience emotion and not have the stories behind it. Like you're saying, like no, like stop crying, it's not okay, or like here's a treat, like just be quiet, or like whatever, like it's unlearned very quickly how to experience emotion as a kid.
You're saying that children are so much easier to release those things. Yes, exactly.
To ride the wave.
Yes, because they're so pure. Yes, exactly. They're so pure. Like, allow them to have the tantrum, but also tell them, hey, this is like, get down, be emotional, and tell them this is why we're doing this. But like, don't shut them down for having a tantrum. Fuck, like let them ride the waves of emotion. But one thing with inner child, people often feel like they're broken, they're too much, they're not enough, that a problem needs fixing. And I really can relate to that. And I felt like I was broken for years. And even when I was in my early 20s, I remember I was in my first apartment, and I had so many of my like little trinkets were broken. Like I have this little heart, this little bear heart angel that mom gave me. And I'm looking at her right now, actually. And she has a broken wing. And I used to be like, see, well, Court, it's okay. Like, you are broken. And that's okay. And you're not going to find love. You're not going to experience love because you're broken, and that's okay. And I told myself that over and over.
Where did you hear that at that age? Like, where did you first hear that you were like, where did that story come
from? Because I was always different. I always like, I have like one really close friend from high school, and but I always felt not like, I always felt alone. I always felt like that's where the brokenness was, is that it was being alone, not having anybody. And the brokenness is the alone. So it's like, well, you're just not meant to have anything.
Well, okay. Yeah, I can remember when I went away to Arizona. It's funny you just said that. Like, I remember when I went to Arizona, Jonah's like, yeah, go get healed. And I remember thinking like, yeah, like, and I don't know where this thought came from, but I just remember being like, it's not going to be done like with just this trip. Like, I'm not going to be just like healed. But it's so funny because it's like, to that notion, like that's almost the same notion of like, I'm going to be broken forever and I am something that can't be fixed. And it's like, no, actually we're like super whole and perfect just as we are. Like, that's the really
in the imperfection
message.
Yes.
That's what you have to tell your inner child. And that is the message. You're whole, you're perfect, you're safe, you're whole, you're perfect, you're safe.
I was in the garden, and I was just like, I was in the garden this week, and I was just talking to my inner child, and that's what I said. I said, I love you. I love you. You are so good. You are so pure. You are so magical. You have this wonderful essence, and I want you to be with me. And sometimes when we are feeling big emotions, even in like this day-to-day life at whatever age you're at, it's like sometimes we allow that inner child to take the wheel, and she's angry and she's letting this emotion out. But you're supposed to come in and be that parent and be like, hey, I got this for you. I'm your protector. We are okay. And hey, we're also allowed to have these emotions, but I want you to know that you don't need to lash out. Cause sometimes sometimes you can lash out and say things you don't want to, you don't mean, like you don't mean, or you're letting this anger, this fuel you down a rabbit hole. So it's like, allow your parent to come in, because that's what we needed as children, these parents to come in and say, oh, you're experiencing a big emotion. Let's shake our bodies. Let's scream. Let's sing. Let's talk out why we feel those things. Because a lot of times children didn't have that as kids. They said, oh, you're being too much. You're too sensitive. You're being dramatic. Go to your room. And then this child has to go to the room and experience these big emotions by themselves. So obviously this is going to become a pattern in their subconscious that, oh, well, no one's here for us. So we just have to kind of go and suffer in silence, or we have to go,
people please and not even have emotions.
Yes.
Other than positive ones, because
that's the bypassing of emotions. Yes, like rage, anger, grief. Those are not good emotions for people to feel. Yeah. So there was one thing though that I wanted to talk to you about. Emily had said on the podcast, she said she was saying that let me just go to my notes.
One thing I just want to say while you're looking for that is also as a parent, parenting your inner child, give yourself a hug.
Yes.
Like, if you're
have compassion for yourself,
give yourself a hug. That's the biggest one. Like
that's what she needs.
I've been watching this one lady on YouTube that's giving parenting tips, and it's really brilliant. And she's just like, yeah, like she's raising like a spectrum of ages of kids, but like her toddler are the videos that I really love. And because at that point, like those kids can't express what they're feeling, but they can show you, and they're going to cry, and they're going to cry about anything, because that's how anger, sadness, most of the more like disruptive emotions for them, they can't chat it out. They can't yell at you. They're going to cry about it. And so like, it's truly, and she just gets down on their level and is like, I know this is a lot for you, and then just hugs them, and it's just like, I have compassion for you. I get it,
And also, that's just tapping into the science. Let's tap into the science of it. It's calming their nervous system. You are coming in, and just by just human touch it was so funny. I was at a show with my friend this past year, and I could feel our shoulders were touching, and I felt our bodies sync up. I felt our nervous system sync up with one another, and it was a power. I was like, wow, this is powerful. But that's the power of human touch. It's like, so even in like you can even talk about this in relationships when you're dealing with conflict with one another. Allow each other just to touch each other, because that's co-regulating the body. If your nervous system is all dysregulated, and so like let's say this little child is experiencing these big emotions and is crying and doesn't know what to say, so put your hand, and you're going to regulate that nervous system, and that's your strength of having the wisdom to know the difference comes in and calms that little child, gives them, and then that then teaches them, oh, hey, guess what? I can go to my mom and dad when I'm not feeling great. I can, they're safe for me. So you're exactly. That's all that our little inner child wants. She just wants to be safe. He just wants to be safe. They just want to be safe.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
So Emily did say, she was kind of talking about how she feels like, because Christine Hassler, she's a coach, and so she said you can't do inner child without a coach. I mean, you can, but it would be very challenging. How do you feel about that statement? Because I kind of I felt like I did, like I didn't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go. Oh, okay. I was like, you could totally.
I asked you a question, and then I went into.
Okay, well, I feel like obviously it's not 100% true, because clearly we've both done our own inner child work with guidance, and like, two of my experiences involved a leader, but one of them did not. Like anything in life, I think a coach just adds to
it. Does, yeah, it adds to the magic. Yes,
just like if you're gonna go play basketball, like you could go play like with the kids down the street and cool, you're going to be at a certain level. You go work with a coach, sure, they're going to
Yeah,
give you
you heighten
drills, they're
it.
going to give
Yes,
you
yes, yes,
like,
yes.
skills and knowledge of the game and yada yada. Like, it's just okay, yeah, it's a refinement of a process, but it's not
Mhm.
the end all be all of the
Right,
process. So yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. So and everything's not black and white. And yes, it's they're gonna give you so many amazing tools, but also, and like they were referencing in the podcast too, all the answers are within. They truly are. Like
Mhm.
the more you seek within, and that's what, and then you're in like you're I needed like I was having some pain in the shoulder, and I was like, I know it's emotional, but I know there's some energy that needs to be cleared. So I was like, my inner wisdom was like, okay, go see your energy healer. So it's just like using your own inner wisdom. And sometimes you're going to say, oh, hey, I actually need to go out and go see this practitioner, or oh, hey, I need to pay for this coach because this coach is going to give me
Mhm.
that refinement, give me those tools. So I think it's very it's all, there's gray area all between it.
Well, yeah, there's many ways to get to a place, a destination, and
Yes,
it's like you could also look at doing different. If you want to look at it this way, you could look at doing different like plant medicine, or
yes,
you could go sit with ayahuasca. You could go do a dose of mushrooms. You could take a hit of LSD. It will show you a lot, and
a
that
thousand
could
percent
also be a tool,
on the journey.
because yeah, they're all tools, and you also don't need any of them at the same time. You just need inquiry. You
Exactly.
just need inquiry, curiosity, and compassion, I think,
Yeah.
and space.
I
Just allowing yourself space. Yeah.
yeah. And trusting that
Mhm.
inner you that's going to tell you exactly what you need. Like ayahuasca, I didn't feel, I'm like, I don't feel like I need ayahuasca for the last couple of years, but because I do my meditations, I do my healing, like
Mhm.
I know that I can do it without it. But now there's a inkling in me that's like, I think I'm ready for some ayahuasca. I think I want ayahuasca now, actually.
Mhm.
So I'm like, so what's this part of me that wants to see? Maybe there's a blinder that I'm not
Mhm.
seeing that ayahuasca is going to showcase to me. So who knows? But there's also I thought Christine Hassler said she talked about her loving parents, but also she talked about how in her journey now of doing her healing and seeing the trauma that she has experienced and stuff, she's written a lot of fuck you letters. She's
Yeah.
punched it to a lot of pillows.
Mhm.
And like, so these are some tools that you can do to heal this inner child within you. Fuck you letters. I do fuck you letters. The beauty of fuck, I did the beauty of fuck you letters. It's like you say, you allow out all those things that were repressed and were not said, and you don't mail them, you burn them, or you do whatever feels right for you. I've done letters where then I come back, so I'll start with the whatever I'm feeling in this moment, and maybe it's like feeling a lot of rage, a lot of anger, a lot of whatever, and then maybe I come back a week and a half later, and it's softened, and then I come back, and then boom, there's acceptance. So
Mhm.
the intentions of these fuck you letters, it's all energy, it's all stored energy. And like with the inner child, there's so much suppression, so we are trying to cultivate a safe space for these words, emotions to come out. So guys, like, scream out loud, sing, dance, move things. That's the point. It's like moving the energy so it doesn't get stuck in the body. Because like, even referencing to your inner child, the pain that she's felt
Mhm.
on her side, it's like, if you're not paying attention to that, oh well, you are gonna, like you said, you felt that,
Mhm.
you felt an ache in you, you felt
Mhm.
someone brushes up against you, and it's sensitive.
Mhm.
That's storing. And let's just say you didn't release those parts of you. What could you have gotten? Frozen shoulder from it, like other physical ailments. If you're not listening to the subtle cues, well,
Mhm.
then it's going to cause you something big in the end. Even myself, like for my shoulder, I was doing for my shoulder, I've recently discovered in this last year, I was like, I was having pain in my shoulder. My
Mhm.
friend sent me this wicked vulnerable compassion meditation, and I then realized I found my harsh inner critic She lives in my right shoulder. And then I went and got a massage, and I totally was like, there's a trigger point in my shoulder. There's a muscle that is in my shoulder and I need it. Like, can you try and get that released? Anyways, I had a massage, great massage, but the pain didn't go away from my shoulder. And I just had this aching and also like a stabbing pain in the back of my shoulder. So then I was like, boom, Courtney, you got to go get some energy work. I know that it's stored emotion. So then I went and got an energy session. I have referenced this one on the podcast already, but she was able, after the session, she was like, Courtney, there's a dagger in your shoulder. And we got into perfectionism and X, Y, and Z. And it's insane because since that energy session, the pain is out of my shoulder. So what I thought was muscle tension was actually stored emotion. So being able to decipher, like anytime I feel a little ache in my body, I'm like, oh, what are you trying to tell me? Like I'll know to tap in, but not everybody knows this. So for anybody listening, pay attention to body aches, pay attention to pain in the body, because there is an underlying factor. Sometimes it is muscular, sometimes it's deeper than that. So can you start hearing the subtle cues so that potentially that doesn't get to a big screaming tower moment?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you had me gather some pictures
Yeah.
that and I think you also have a couple pictures of, so this would be helpful for anybody listening too, is to find those pictures of yourself at various ages in life. And those pictures that capture that true innocence for you, that you look at and you're like, wow, that's her. That's that inner child when she's truly happy and joyful and safe and secure. Um, that's her. And have them around so that you can remind yourself, like, oh, that's
And
inside.
talk to them,
Yeah.
talk to them. I have so many different ages. Like there's young pictures of me all around. There's one on my nightstand, so I can look at her every night, and she's just like so quirky, and I'm just like, look at you. And then I have older one, and then like all ages, like allow all ages of you, and just to be reminded of who you are at your core. That's what it's about. It's coming back to home, like you said earlier. It's about coming back to the essence of who we are, because yes, we're not going to escape this life without some sort of something. So just really come back to that pure inner child. When they are there, they show you exactly who you need to be. So let's see it, Bethany. Let's see your
Oh, you
little
want to see
girl.
my little pink
Yeah,
pictures?
bring her up, bring her
So
up.
I'll go littlest to oldest. But this is my littlest
Oh, I
version.
know that one.
Yeah.
Look at her.
So I have that little one in front of my computer. I also have this one in front of my computer that I
Oh, I
just
love that look
love.
again. The big smile. Like when
Smile.
I think of you, I always think of your
Yeah.
smile.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Smile.
that.
And then this
You
one,
also like pink. You really like pink.
well, at that age I wasn't
Well, or
dressing
was.
myself.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So
See, okay.
I think
Wait
my
till you
mom,
see. Okay,
yeah, I think
okay.
my mom liked putting us in pink because I guess that's what you did when you had girls.
Girly. Yeah.
Um, that's
Again,
like,
the
yeah,
smile.
that one's just like silly, like, yeah, like I'm just like feeling it. And then this one is like, wow, this one's like innocence for me. And it's with my Gramps. And my Gramps was such a free spirit and just such a sweet influence in our
Oh
lives.
my
And that
gosh.
one is just
Yeah.
like
Is
true
that your
innocence.
is
That's my
that your
mom's
dad's
dad.
dad? It's your
No,
mom's
that's my
dad.
mom's
Okay.
dad,
So
Gramps.
he's I feel like he went to the seaside because
Oh,
he's nice and
this is
tan.
at Seaside. This is at Seaside. This is
Cool.
at the beach. Yeah, at one of our rental when we used to go every
I
summer. Family that
and
was like
again, yeah, you guys were the shore.
the
You love the
shore.
shore. The shore, I'm
My
like,
mom.
what?
My,
DTL, DTL. But truly, when we look at your little views, look at you like that happiness, that joy, the essence, the
yeah,
smile. Every single picture, you're just like showcasing a huge smile, and
yeah,
that's your essence.
yeah, it
And
is.
you even reference, you're like, when you're not experiencing joy, she's not happy
Mm-hmm.
because that's what she wants.
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh. I would definitely
Mm,
say that. Yeah,
I
it's
love that.
yeah. I want to see yours.
Okay, so all right, so this is the first one I want to start with, just because she is like,
She's
look at
sweet.
her. Look at
She
her
is,
she's dancing, and
yeah,
look at her
she's like,
fucking
oh yeah.
look at her outfit.
I can't
Like
even tell. What are you
it,
wearing?
I'm wearing a black coat with fur on the top. I'm telling you,
Of course you are.
I'm fashionable as
Oh
fuck.
my
And
God.
then this one it was me in on a
Oh,
family vacation. So mom told me I was only so my mom, this is my scrapbook. My mom I pulled these pictures. So his mom said Courtney was always gifted when it came to trying new things. This is in Fredericton, New Brunswick. When she learned how to ride a bike, it was at our friend's house. We couldn't keep her off the bike and she had no wheels, and I was only like four, like
you're little. Oh, you were doing it. You were feeling it. You're like, yeah.
yeah. And I also want to just show
Oh, yes. Look at the
like
smile, the happiness. Yeah.
yeah. And then there's also like there's a real depth. Like I'm always a pondering soul, and like
Yeah, right?
look at her. She's just,
Deep
and then
curiosity.
one last one.
Oh, I love that one. Oh, I love
Just
that one. That's the true
just the
inner.
yeah.
Whoa, that's like the deepest, most purest little being there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the purest. I mean, other than
Yeah.
like if you had a baby picture, but I'd say like, you know,
Okay, well
yeah,
there's baby Court.
yeah. But that one,
Yeah.
that is like pure, that's a pure
Yeah.
picture there. That one's sweet.
And then I'll just go one of my siblings and our the Bennetts. There's
Is that all you guys? Is that all the brothers and sisters?
it's not all of us,
No.
but it's some of the Bennetts. Like I'm on top. Emily, Michael, and Scott are on bottom. I think I'm hugging Tim and John. I
No,
always
look at what?
this is a picture. Oh, and I'm oh no, I'm hugging Anthony and Tim.
But there's an example of one, two, three, four, five children, and like they're pure, like that's joy. That's all of you are
Yeah,
joy. Even
yeah.
Emily.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally.
Emily is
Oh,
like,
and actually, John's off in the corner. This is actually a
she's
picture
in.
that I want. This is actually a picture that I want to recreate. You know how people do all those recreations?
Yeah.
Like, I hope one day that we could do that if I could muster everybody up. Not
Oh
everybody's
my
wants
gosh.
to take pictures, but
I love it.
yeah, and so like the purpose of having these pictures around is to bring you back to home, is to be there for that little inner you that needs to feel heard, loved,
Yeah.
feel valued, all those good things. And just like, so that's a tool that you can do. Another tool is to connect intentionally and say, ask your inner child what they want to do today. And maybe they tell you they want to go rollerblading. Maybe they tell you that they want ice cream. I know yours definitely tells you you want ice cream all the time.
Yeah. And
You had
going
it.
back to my Arizona experience, like he was like, anytime you see a swing, get on it because that
Yeah,
is
cool.
like where your inner, like the fact that you were brought back to a swing set, there was
Right.
that's where you feel joy.
Something big.
Yeah.
Something big.
That's as a kid where you felt safe and you had fun and you felt joy, but like, don't stop doing that. So like if you, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
things
I
like
like that.
that. Like,
I like that. I'm
listen
gonna do a
to that.
meditation where I'm gonna ask her to bring me back to something that she really loved to do.
Mm,
Because like I really like that you were able to be on a swing. Like
hmm
that's where she brought you. It's
hmm
beautiful.
Yeah.
And then another thing you can do is like just those words of affirmation. You are safe with me. I love you. I am here. Like finding the verbiage that feels right for you. Like I have so many little notes written around my house, leaving like when I leave my door, there's messages for me to read, to go into the subconscious, to allow those parts of me that need to hear these things, that need to see these things. There's a lot of little tools to do. Journal your experience, get in some water, and do a sacred ceremony bath for yourself, finding the tools that work right for you along your journey, and search within, because you will like they'll speak to you the way that they want to be heard.
Yeah. And two things. First one is going back to the coaching thing. Like if you also feel like you aren't strong enough for whatever
Right.
reason to do this on your own, like go find a coach. Like that's amazing. Like Christine Hassler is a resource now that we've mentioned, but there's so many other people out there that probably do inner child work that you could go and seek guidance, like if you don't feel like you have the strength, and that's totally, totally acceptable. And then
Because it is hard. Like it's not easy to look at the parts because that inner child was shut down, was dismissed. So it's not
Mhm,
easy to see those parts of yourself. So
mhm,
yes, I do. Yeah, that's great. That's great,
yeah.
Bethany.
I want to touch back on that. There was one other thing, but I just totally lost it. Like, I don't remember. But anyways,
My apologies. I
no,
jumped
you're good.
in.
No. I kind of
Good.
lost it as I said I was going to say it. I don't remember.
Good.
But that was one thing I wanted to say. It's just like if it doesn't feel, if it feels deep, and if you know there's a lot to be looked at there, then like go find somebody to hold space for you, because I think that
Yeah.
is very valuable, especially
Yeah.
the depths that it can go, you know?
Definitely. And to come out of it, because like maybe
Hmm.
it could get you stuck in,
Hmm.
again, it can keep you stuck in a pattern, a loop of some sort. So yeah, having somebody just be in that space, that container,
Hmm.
will aid you tenfold.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like teach you
absolutely.
the tools, teach you the tools.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on this? Do you feel
No,
like,
I think that's I would reference to go back to um that podcast of
mhm,
with Emily and Christine, episode 43, Ziva Meditation, Ziva Meditation.
mhm,
Emily's a really kind, genuine soul. I remember when I first saw her with Deja Blue, I was just like, yeah, I like this chick. She's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, she is.
Just like really kind. Like
Yeah,
you could just look at her face and see the kindness.
yeah.
Um, so that episode was actually a lot of good nuggets in there, a lot of good wisdom.
Mhm.
As these podcasters, like all Bethany, you were like yesterday, you're like, man, it was a week for podcasts. Everything got
Yes.
dropped this week, and holy moly, you're like, this is. I was like, send them my way,
So good.
keep them
So
coming.
good. I
Yeah,
am a
yeah,
podcast junkie. And so
yeah,
that's why
you
it's so
are.
cool to like step into this like place of being able to like
Peace.
now share and be part of that community and be part of that world. And yeah, have
And you do it so
space.
effortlessly. It feels really.
Likewise.
I know. I just love watching you. I'll always text Bethany after, and I'll be like, "Oh my God, guys!" Or I'm like, "Oh my God, Bethany, you're just so good at asking questions. Oh my God." You're like, "Well,
Uh,
I heard it on a podcast." Bethany,
yeah,
Jonah wanted to get Bethany a shirt, and I heard it on a podcast because that is
totally.
who Bethany is at her
Because
core.
there was a stretch where I first started getting into podcasts, and like that's, I mean, it still is all I listen to, but at least
You're
now
like,
I know how to preface things where I'm not like, yeah, I heard this on the podcast the other day. I
Yeah,
heard this on a
did,
podcast.
did you know about podcasts? Because
Yeah.
I can tell you about
Oh
podcasts.
yeah. It's been
But
fun, heavy.
before we end, do you want to just do a little brag today? You
Yeah,
want to
sure, sure,
brag?
sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I'll start. I'll start.
Okay.
Uh, brag on you. I love your genuinity. I do love seeing your big smile, but
Mm,
like, your core is genuine. Your core is love. Your core is just like being someone to like hold space, and it is just it's really great to witness. It's really great
mhm.
to be a part of. And like there's the smile.
Yeah.
There she
I'll
is.
share it. I'll share
Yeah, share your smile.
it.
So I just love that about you.
Mm,
And brag on me. I'm happy that I'm happy that I've never stopped being myself, even when I knew myself to be different. And, it was told that I was different. I am so glad that I let my funky self be. And I am just so happy for how far we've come. I'm so happy for seeing her the best way that I know how, and jumping out and using those practitioners that help you on your journey. I'm just so happy that I'm holding space for me, for my inner child, for, the person that I'm becoming. But I'm just so proud of where I'm at.
I love it. I love it. And for anybody that doesn't know what we're doing right now, the bragging, go to
Yeah, yeah.
episode 2. Good episode 2. We talk about bragging.
You're gonna get off.
You're gonna get off. You're gonna get off. Go to episode 2. You're gonna get off, and you're gonna learn about bragging, the practice of bragging. And so, if you already know about bragging, also, I invite you to go brag with a friend, brag on a friend, a loved one, a family member, anybody. Just go do this practice with whoever you love in your life, and yeah, I just urge you to go do it today. And so, I want to say that the word that's coming up for you when I am thinking of like bragging on you right now is the word tenacity, which is a
Ooh,
weird word for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, but
cool.
this like fierceness that you're always coming at life with, and that you're just this, yeah, it's this tenacious kind of energy where you're just like, yeah, I'm ready for it, and we're gonna do it, and uh,
Mm,
showing up with yeah, just that flavor of tenacity. Just, and I
love it.
don't even know if I know what it means, the word
Force. It's
definition, but
a force. It's
it
a.
feels, yeah, it feels like an essence of like this force to be reckoned with, this like powerful
Do you know
being.
that's something I say to myself? I have on one of my, so I have little cutout hearts all over my house, and
Yeah.
it says you are a force to be reckoned with. You're a firecracker. So
Well, I'm
that's
feeling it. I'm like,
thank
it's
you.
like that word's coming through, and I'm like, tenacity. Like, I don't even know what that. I've never used that
It's
word.
funny.
So,
It's funny because I was thinking about the way you receive wisdom. Before I was falling asleep or something last night, and I was like, Bethany has such a kind of. I was excited for the podcast. I was excited, but your claircognizance. You have that inner knowing, so that's where that word is probably
just
coming from.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, just listening. So I love your tenacity. It's just like so
Thank
powerful.
you.
And it's definitely been like such a spearhead for this podcast to happen. Like, it's definitely been like the grounding force and the force behind this podcast. Cause
Yeah.
I truly don't know if I would have as much tenacity with this if it wasn't for you being a part of it. So I'm so grateful for that. And then, yeah, and then, oh gosh, brag on me, brag on me. Huh, I, mm. I just have to I think I have to say what's coming up for me this week is just my ability to maintain like a sense of calmness throughout the week. Like, throughout this week, it's felt like a busier week, and I feel like I've just been able to maintain a sense of calmness. Also, gosh, I'm trying to like put into words what I'm thinking. This grand idea. And also, I guess, like in my relationship, like I'm like pushing myself to like show up in a different way, to have me and Jonah show up in a better and different way. And so I don't know, I just feel this like sense of shifting going on in life,
That's what I was just gonna say.
but like maintaining this like level of calmness about it, not getting like super wound up tight about it.
Right.
And I'm just like feeling really proud of that energy. And I feel
Cool.
really proud of this podcast too. I feel
Me
really proud
too.
of us like
Yeah.
doing this. And I feel really proud of the way that it's flowed and felt effortless. Sorry, this is like a double brag, but I think this
I
is
love
like,
it. Listen,
I
here for
really
it.
love, I love the this is a podcast brag. I just
Ha!
love
Yes, a
how,
podcast.
yeah, how effortless it feels like it's been. And we are just like producing episodes, and we're editing them, and they're coming out bomb, and it's really sweet, and it feels really good. So I just want to brag on us for that, and brag on the podcast for
Yes.
being what
Can
it
I
is
do a
already.
podcast brag
Sure.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Podcast. Honestly, though, Bethany, I too feel that flow. Like, and it's funny because listen, go back to episode 3 where we talk about ego, but my ego held me back for this podcast for 2 years. I've been talking about this, thinking about this, wanting this, but been afraid that, well, is the wisdom meant to be shared? Like, am I meant to do this? Like, what are people going to think? X, Y, and Z. And I allowed those things to hold back. But the more and more I show up for myself, the more and more this podcast was able to be birthed. And
Mhm.
like, we are truly birthing something beautiful, and
Mhm.
it feels so right. Like, my heart is so happy, and when I know that something's right is when my heart is happy. Like,
Yeah.
there's a big smile on my face when I think about us, being able to share the wisdom, to come up and hear these different podcasters who have so much infinite wisdom, and being like, we've got great wisdom to share. We've got infinite wisdom. And I am so proud of us for that. And there was something else I wanted to add with that podcast, Bragg, but I think it's out. It's just really fun watching it come through. Oh, we had our first guest yesterday, and how well that flowed.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so proud that we're doing the things that feel right for us, because we're birthing something beautiful. We're birthing something big. And I foresee this podcast to be uplifting, to be everything that it needs to be. So brag to the podcast.
I keep following what lights us up. That's what's going
on,
you know?
Like and follow, subscribe and share.
Yeah.
We would love that. We would love to get our messages across to this world.
Yeah.
And it will, and it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not even worried, like, but still feel free to share any wisdom along the way, guys. It's a way to be heard.
Totally. Yeah.
Little Moosey's on the go.
Moose is on the go. You got the vibe. Yep. He's picking up my glasses. He's just throwing them around out there.
Like, oh, your glasses. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I wish.
Well, I get.
Until next time.
Until next time. We are so thankful for you guys being a part of this. We are so thankful that we're showing up, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And just do the things that feel right for you, and hold space for your little inner you that needs to be seen, heard, and valued. They will love you tenfold for it.
Yeah. Love you all. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.